do believe that I will be taking it easy today and not working on, excuse me, on any of my CAD library stuff. Mostly because I just don't want to think about it today. I want to just turn my attention to something else entirely. Apologies, I have a bit of a stuffy nose. Going to assume that it's not a major problem. I feel fine otherwise. It's just that my voice might sound a little off. So that's just the way that's going to be. Yeah, so I think I'm not going to do anything all that important today. I'm just going to mess around with some animation stuff that I was working on before. It's extremely simple, where I basically compute a bunch of SVGs, save them to disk, convert them all to PNG, and then smush those PNGs into a video format with FFmpeg. And that pipeline should be good enough for me to make a few assets for the stream. This has been something I keep putting off. It keeps seeming like a great idea, and then I just derail myself entirely. So it'll be nice to kind of turn my mind to it just a little bit, you know? So that'll be what I get into. And so, to begin, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to here. I don't even have Emacs open right now. So what I have actually is this output folder has a whole bunch of PNG images, and I do believe I can delete all of those and open firstanim.webm as a bit of a sample here. So this is the smooth animation I can get from this pipeline, which is pretty nice if I do say so myself. But the idea I have is to start messing around with well, that's a letter A. Let's see, do I have... Yeah, anyway, the idea is to start taking these path elements for these letters and do some extrudes and rotates on them and turn that into a bit of a 3D animation for a little overlay for my Be Right Back screen or whatever. So that's the initial idea, and I'll see what I can do. It's been a while, so I have to remember where my head was at with that code anyway. But let's pop Emacs open and have a little look. And just for kicks, I will go back to this. I'll just loop this because it's satisfying to me. Alright, let's pop Emacs into, there we go, kinda. Not quite where I need it or want it. Well, almost there. Nope. Nope. Come on. Shoot, there's a way that I could do this and I don't remember. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get rid of this window and reopen that. Well, we're getting closer, but we're not there yet. Oh, I know, maybe. Okay, now I've got a bar that nope. I don't know all the keyboard shortcuts to my setup. This is a tragic misstep. Let's just do this. Let's just get rid of it. Like this. And let's do this over here. Alright, I think I can work with that for the time being. So silly. So silly. But okay. If I go over like this, just get a working view here. That looks okay. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so, alright. Alright. I can go ahead and make a REPL here. And I could start hacking around on this. I also am going to pull up my Twitch chat on my phone, just in case. Just in case. Alright, let's go pop out. Sweet. Alright. Let's send a little emote to myself for no reason. Boosh. Okay. All right. All right. There's a little bit of a delay between the chat on my phone and the chat on my stream computer, but you know, that is just going to be fine. On a totally unrelated note, I hope everyone is doing okay today. If you're tuned in now and not chatting or anything like that, that's totally cool. Hope you're doing all right. If you're watching this at some other time, I appreciate that too. I'm considering mixing up my stream times and my approaches and stuff like that. If you're someone who watches the stream at any point for any reason, but doesn't tune in live or can't tune in live, I'd love to hear your thoughts one way or another. I think the best approach is, well, I don't know the best approach, to be honest. Maybe just send me a message on Twitch or something like that if you want to chat but can't engage in the chat in real time. I need to figure communication stuff out. There's a lot I need to figure out, but I don't want to jump the gun, you know, because there's not a huge audience anyway, so maybe I'm overthinking it already. But enough of that for now. Let me go ahead and do one of these. Load this. And then I would like to run this to load the file. I do believe there will be... okay, it's a little slow, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. Right, so let's have a look here. This intersection thing here is a set of test rendering things that I'm working on for testing polygon union functions, which I have some ear clipping algorithms I need to fix up, but otherwise this is basically done. So I kind of want to get rid of it a little bit if I'm thinking about that, but I won't jump the gun on that. What I do want to do is maybe, let me just change up this here, and I'll go ahead and pop all these namespaces up a level, make them all top level, just cause, except maybe this can pop down like that. Scratch, yeah. That works just fine. And I can maybe just untangle it for the time being, so it won't tangle. Let's see here, tangled 11 code blocks, tangled 12, yeah. So if I just get rid of that, it makes the tangle, it makes this org code block syntax invalid, and just doesn't tangle the code block, which is fine for me. Let's unindent all that just for my own mental satisfaction. Save that. Not tangled exactly like I want it to be for now, so that's good. Okay. Right, so what am I working on now? Well, what I would like to do is see if I can pull in as a data structure the letter B path data. Okay, so I'll start with that. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to use it to make an extrude animation. And the whole idea for this particular animation is a be right back 3D extrusion thing that I could just run on my overlay. I could just switch to it when I go to the washroom or whatever. And maybe I could put like I don't know if it's say a 2-minute thing, I could just put a 2-minute countdown timer or something and have some cool animation from that. But before I think that far ahead, I want to have the pipeline working. In an ideal world, I'd love to be able to have something like this, like 3D text or something like text 3D, and then you pass it, this is some text, or text as path or something like that. I'd love that, but that's not something in the cards for the day. So instead, I'm just going to, if I can slurp the file, let me do this, def b string, bster is just slurp output slash, what is it? I do believe it's just, and this is where, if I get iterm to pop in at the right spot here, then I can, there we go. That's what I need. That's what I need. Beautiful. Okay, so let's just pop into here. Output vim b. I believe b.svg could have the right stuff here, but I'm not entirely certain. Okay. Vim b path. It's got a different, okay. Okay, so this path element here has all absolute path elements. Let's have a look here for a minute. There's a little, oh, you can't even see it because my face cam is blocking it, but I'm just opening in Vim an SVG file just to get a really rough idea of what it actually looks like, to see if I'm pulling in the right data. And I think, pardon me, I think I can actually extract the path data from either of these. And now that I think about it, I do believe I have scratch animation. Oh man, what am I doing here? Okay. I I have functions that exist to do stuff like this already. If I recall. Okay, there's delete. Yes, okay. Images, video, animation, Inkscape. This is a whole thing that I'm not gonna. Let me. You know what? I do want to keep that, but I don't think I'm gonna use Inkscape in the pipeline because it's a little frustrating. There's a lot of scripting you can do through a command line interface, but there are some things that I want to be able to do that require the UI to be spawned, and I don't like the idea of running an automatic process that spawns all kinds of windows. It can slow things way down and be just a little messy. So that's not ideal, but that's a problem I can solve later on. So here I've got get path. I do believe this, yeah. So I need hiccup to be already in there. BD and DD are oh man, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Okay. This here, this, if I remember, well, let's have a look at BD. What is this? Okay, that's already a string. What I would like to do is make a function that basically does all this work for me, right? Because DD, I think, it's also just the string. Okay. Right, so, whew. Okay, let's get out of this, clear that. Okay, what I would like to do here, let me just all right, I'm gonna turn this pipeline into a function, basically, and what it's gonna do is define here, define SVG string to path string. See this? A little, the naming of this is a little difficult, that's all. So if I do SVG, right, as a string here, what I can do is create this pipeline where it's just the SVG hickory slash parse hickory slash as hiccup, then take first, oh, I do believe this is probably not the right way to do this either. Let's see. Do I have, I think I might have a better extraction method in some other library that I was working on. Which one would that be? I don't remember. Of course. Oh, you know what? I might be jumping the gun here. See, this is one issue when I when I have to put down project for a bit and then get back to it, I have to remind my own brain what I was doing, right? If I have a look at that's not it. That's not it either. Okay. I'm going to call it, you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. I am going to go ahead and just keep on having a look at this stuff here. So fake polygon, I'm pretty sure I can just remove entirely. Polygon 2, I forget what that actually is. Let me go ahead and try something. Let's open up forge.org. Let's have a look at this. I do know we've got, it should be, it's a primitive polygon. I have a function polygon 2 and I don't remember what the difference is. I don't know why I did that. Okay, here. Well, darn. I don't remember what I'm trying to do. Okay, so here, it's related to this. I am nilling out the frep for some reason, and I believe it's related to the fact that the way in which I did the functional representation for arbitrary polygons uses an incorrect triangulation. So for the sake of getting for the sake of getting a working animation, I was just nilling out the frep stuff. So let's actually just separate this out. Below is a temporary polygon function that nils the frep. This was done to allow me to make animations with concave polygon shapes. The frep for generic polygons uses a union of frep triangles, which are calculated with the Delaunay triangulation. That triangulation method breaks for concave shapes. At least currently it does. So the frep for polygons is broken and needs to be fixed. Okay. There we go. I've got a note to myself. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's good. I have a note there, so I hopefully don't forget everything. but we'll see. Okay, so right. Okay, so lineify. Before I'm trying to remember how I approached. You know what? Maybe this works. Let me try get path on. On anything here. Let's just give it a shot. Okay, first let's run get path on this whole thing, and then I'll do a get in 1D. What I'd like to do is try to run this SVG to path function on let's see. So here B string, I'm slurping in B dash path. So if I do B string, it's just this path element. But if I do def B SVG as slurp output slash b.svg, that's a more, there's just more front matter, right? There's just more to it. And I did that manually. I manually copied and pasted the path part out of the rest of this. What I'm checking here, what I would like to check, is if this correctly extracts the path anyway. So that's what I'm wondering about. So SVG to path of BSVG, does that work? It does not work, so that's a bit of a shame. Okay, so get path, right? It's supposed to take in hiccup data. So something about this doesn't yet work. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can have a look at this instead. So what does bparse look like? Okay, so that's that whole thing. If I do let me just pop that into the REPL and change it to BSVG. Okay, something, that's weird. I don't know why that would be the case. So BSVG is this whole thing, right? Huh. Okay, B dash, oh sorry, let's do, what is hickory slash parse of BSVG? Okay, so it does parse a bunch of stuff, but why, if it does it as hiccup? Hey Mike, it's going okay today. I'm in a bit of a, I'm a bit grumpy. So I sent my car for service, and it's just more expensive than I would like it to be. So that's just, it grinds my gears a bit, but hey, that's the way life goes sometimes. Other than that, I'm actually in a good mood. In a good mood. Just not doing direct library work today. I'm just messing around with animations for fun today. Wanted to distract myself a bit, you know. How are you doing? Hope you're doing okay today. Hope you are doing okay. Alright, let's have a look at this. If I run this parse as hiccup, I think that's correct. Ooh, there's stuff. Okay. Okay, so here I've got this get path hiccup. I wonder if that will work on this directly. So let's have a look here. Ooh, it does not work. Okay, no problem. No problem. If I do get path on rest, so I don't take the first, that's also nil. Hey, there's, okay. All right, so that returns, okay, I'm close to something there. Yeah, doing well. Bit of a slow day at work, which is kind of nice. Careful with car shops. Heard some bad things about them in Canada. Make sure the work they say you need is actually needed. Yeah, no, that is good advice, Mike. I've been to this place. It's the dealership that I did get the car from originally. I trust them reasonably. It is a little unfortunate. There is definitely something with a wheel bearing. So I believe them on that, and then just a few other oil related things. So sometimes it just unfortunately costs a lot of money. You're not wrong, and I do think there's a few things I want to do to kind of keep my costs down in the future. Mainly what I really want to do is not have a car. But that's a whole other ball game. It's not a real issue. It is just a bit of a, oh man, I don't love it kind of thing. So, I will be okay for now. It's also coming at a time where, like, okay, just a few bills you have to pay kind of all close to the same time just makes you recognize that money is going away when ideally you want it to go into the account, right? A perfect world where nobody needs cars and public transit and bikes are all you need. Man, so I lived and worked in the Netherlands for 2 years before I moved back to Canada, and I loved how I could get around the whole country without needing a car. I would bike to work, I would bike into town, I'd get all the groceries I needed, put them on a little backpack, and it was fantastic. And that's for sure the thing I miss the most living back in Canada is the ease of doing that. And theoretically I could go with a bike kind of everywhere, but it's not the society here, like the minds of the citizens in the area, right, are not geared towards cyclists and pedestrians first, right? We've got a road, and the road is meant for cars, and it's not bad per se, it's just totally not what I prefer. So jealous, want to live in a place like that. Yeah, I had it was a very unique opportunity, and it was just for various reasons I decided of my own accord to move back to Canada. I don't regret the decision. I just really miss certain aspects of living in Europe. If you can swing it, it's really quite neat. I'm sure though, whatever country you do live in, I would imagine there are ways that you can either find cities that are more, they have that feel a little bit, a little more pedestrian oriented and whatnot. I guess what I'm saying is every country has its ups and downs, right? As long as you can be a relatively free citizen or whatever, then I feel as if you can kind of find the little pockets of the country where you could live in a really cool way. That's not to say don't go live in Europe or whatever. It's awesome. It was a lot of fun. In the US, not great here right now. Yeah, some cities like that from what I've heard. Boulder, Colorado is one that comes to mind. I've heard about Boulder a little bit. I also, yeah, you know, Canada and the U.S. are, in my opinion, an interesting set of countries in the sense that there's significant cultural similarity, but at the same time, quite a bit different. That is hard to. It's a little hard to verbalize initially. I will just say, at the moment, I am appreciative of the Canadian government and my relative safety and everything like that. Now, I know that many people in the US are still safe and sound and all of that stuff, but I completely understand that it's a little messy, to put it mildly. So, you know, that's, you know, I don't want to, I don't know. I'm not that informed, so I can't speak very intelligently about everything. I do just, you know, I look at the news and the world, and I'm glad that I'm Canadian for now. But yeah, you know, there's always spots with different approaches, and yeah, it is so. If the world didn't love cars so much, I think it would be so cool to have public transit and bikes and everything like that. It'd be so fun. And who knows, maybe with electric bicycles becoming more and more common, maybe there will be more and more just general desire for that kind of activity. Who knows, maybe things shift just a little bit. It'd be neat. I'd be okay with it. Right, so what am I trying to do? That's my first question. Okay. Right, so this right here, let me do something here. B1, B2, how about that? B string and B SVG. Okay, B1 is a vector, and B2 is nothing. Oh, I forgot. I don't want this. I want this. Okay. B1, B2 is a list. B1. Okay. Let's see. Right, I just want to change this get path thing here to I think this might make sense if I do filter vector, yes. Okay, filter vector, and then first from that. I think that might do what I needed to do. Let's have a look. Get path from B1 gives me a path. Get path from B2 now also gets me a path. All right. I'm gonna go get myself a drink for a second. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, so what's the point of doing all that anyway? The more I mess around with SVG stuff, the more I realize how it's pretty straightforward, but there's a lot of situations where it isn't. What am I saying? There's a little more to it than it first appears. Like, it's very cool and powerful. I like SVG stuff a lot, but there's a few gotchas here and there. Hey, Emerson, how are you? Hope you're doing well today. Hope all is well. You good? Nice, glad to hear it. What about me? Yeah, I'm doing okay. Doing all right. Taking a little bit of a break from the CAD library code and just messing around with some animation stuff just for fun, just to mix it up a little bit. So that's a nice change of pace, so I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, otherwise things are just chugging along normally, so it's all good. It is all good. All right. Let's see. What's next? What's next here? Right, so I do think I want to, if I have a look at the get path result from this, there's a bunch of this extra stuff in this map that I don't really need. So oh, you know what? It doesn't really matter though. If I'm using this function, this pipeline to grab it, then yeah, I actually can do this. I can swap this out here. Actually realize, so one thing I don't always know how to think about when it comes to setting up little transformation pipelines and stuff in Clojure is where to draw specific lines. So by that I mean this function here I called getPath. It takes in hiccup data structures, and well, actually technically it doesn't take in, it takes in, yeah, it takes in a sequence that might contain a hiccup data structure. It assumes, it just grabs the first thing here, blah 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 blah, but this function here, I take in an SVG string and get and combine it here. What I could do is have this all in one big long transformation function, and it would work the same, but I don't know where to pull out different bits of functionality, if that makes any sense. This kind of makes sense to have it out separately because I could see how it could be useful to have a hiccup structure and just pull the path part from it directly. But sometimes it's not easy to see where to delineate lines and functionality. But since this is not a library, it's just a kind of a scratch pad, it doesn't matter all that much. So I'm pretty much okay with it. Okay, but using that, let's test this out for a moment. I have BSVG. I slurped in a SVG file that I made in Inkscape, and I want to pull it in and goof around with the data in this Clojure program. So this function here, SVG to path should work just fine on this string now. If I'm thinking about it properly, boom, I have a path string to work with. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty okay with how that went. It has the string. Now here, so because of that, I can actually, I'm just gonna delete this extra kind of cruft for a minute here. I will def b string bsvg here as slurp output bsvg, and slurp just reads the file into a string, so it puts the file in the REPL's memory basically, loosely speaking. But you can assign a symbol to the string and just go ahead and use it through the pipeline. Okay, good. So here, I forget what this was all about. Get numbers. What did I do here? Oh yes. Okay. I don't think get numbers is what I actually want to run, but I'm going to run it and see what happens. I think I have to split this into, oh, no, see, it's not quite right. It gets all the numbers correctly, but there's all these characters in there, which is not quite correct. Okay, so all right, let's just clear that out of the way and have a look at what I need to do here. Let's put a little thing here for a minute and do what's the good name for these functions? How do I describe it? Convert path instructions, and let's put a little blurb here. The path being input into this system currently is assumed to be in absolute coordinates. This means that all path instructions use the capital letter variant. Example, L is line to absolute position LXY means line from current position to absolute coordinate XY. LXY means line from current position to current X plus X, current Y plus Y. Relative, right? I want to convert all V and H instructions to their equivalent L instructions. Since V and H are just shorthands for vertical and horizontal movements, you can represent the same coordinate with an L instruction. You just need to know the missing, quote unquote, the missing coordinate. Right, so that blurb just talks about these different things here. So given a, so the expected input to these, if I recall correctly, is something to the effect of, right, it's a pair, so there's instructions like this. I have L and then an X value and then a Y value, and I might be wrong about that. Oh, wait. Let me step myself back a little bit here. This get numbers thing, get numbers, I do believe works on, say, a string. So if I have a string that's L2010, that is a draw a line from wherever you're at to the 2010 coordinate. If I do get numbers on that, yeah, okay. So if I run get numbers over this, it just gives me a vector of the coordinates. Similarly, if I have a V, draw a vertical line up 20, then it just gives me only the 20, and H would do the same thing. Okay, that means that here, since I'm running get numbers inside the function, what I'm passing into this is a string, or a pair of strings like this, L 2010 and V, let's go up 50, and that should return, oops, hey, something wrong? Oh right, I pardon me, I have to do this. L2050, okay, so this L2050 is the converted version of V50, right? It requires that I give it a pair. So the previous coordinate is assumed in this case is known as 20, 10, and then the next coordinate move is a line up 50, which you just know is equivalent to 2050, but this function just takes that pair and gives you back the equivalent of the last result as an L call instead of a V. And H would do the same, and then this bundles them together and just does a conditional check. If the first thing is a V character, then you run the V command, otherwise it's assumed to be H. So the assumption here is that the path I'm sending in has only absolute coordinates and only V, H, and L calls, and nothing else. Except maybe an M call at the start and a Z at the end for basically start the path and end the path kind of thing. Another necessary assumption for these transforms to work currently is that there are only M, L, V, H, and Z calls. M and Z are simple enough to handle. Well, whatever, I don't need to write more about that. Yeah, so, right, there we go. Okay, So I'm just reconstructing in my own mind the pipeline I have already set up here. And unfortunately, my naming convention might might need a little bit of work. Right, so VH pair, if I run VH pair, that's just a predicate that checks, right? So if I pass it this vector, it should return true, but if I pass it this, it's false. So all that's doing is pardon me, taking the first characters and just checking if it's either LV or LH. If it's either of those, then that's true, otherwise it's false. And the reason I have that set up is all related to running this lineify function. But before I do that, I need to run split path. Okay, so this is where I've got, if I run get path of b-svg, why is that nil now? What did I do? I thought that this would work. Yeah. Oh, right. Of course. That's the wrong function. SVG to path is what I need of b-svg. Okay, that gives me the path. And if I run split path is not what I want necessarily, but let's have a look at what that does. If I split path, let's see here. If I split this path, I get two paths, and it splits on the letter M here, which makes sense. By the way, all of these M, L's, and whatnot, they're coming from the SVG path commands here. M is move to, L line 2, horizontal line 2, vertical line 2. And I'm ignoring these for now because they're more complicated. They're certainly more involved. I mean, the coolest ones are, well, coolest. I like the Bezier curve and smooth quad Bezier curve, but curve 2 and smooth curve 2 are also there. If I remember correctly, curve 2 is like a 3-point Bezier, and quadratic Bezier is a 4-point Bezier, but I don't remember for sure. Anyway, the math for those is a little more involved, so for now I'm ignoring them. There is work to be done in that regard, but definitely a problem for another time. But Bezier curves are really cool, so I wanna do those anyway. Arcs are also annoying because they have a weird sort of syntax. But the paths I'm trying to animate here anyway, I'm just discretizing them as straight segments anyway, so I don't really need it at the moment. Okay, so split path is fine. I think it might be clean path that I actually want to run here. Oops. Let's go ahead, clean path. Ooh, it worked. Okay, so believe it worked anyway. Let's have a look here. Actually, what I don't know is if this breaks something. Split path. This should say 2. Yeah, okay. Cool. Clean path works. I love it. Okay, so if I run into points, almost worked. It did work. That's very cool. Okay. Right, so what I want to do here is just define BD to be SVG to path of B SVG, which actually I shall go, where did I put it? Here. Let's cut those, bring them down. Here. Here we go. Let's split this and make a little section here. What should I call this? Path anims, sure. Right, so B string, I don't even need that because B-SVG works just fine. Okay, so here, def BD, I'm gonna change how I do this. Thread last, B-SVG, and it's going to be, yes, okay, SVG path, and then just dash points. Very simple. That should work. And then this ISO view here should work just fine. So BD split path. Oh no, I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. So BD should already be these lists of points. I'm gonna have a little look at how that works. Actually, ooh, one brief little thought about this. Well, let me see how this works here. Actually, let's skip, or let's just, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, unfortunately. If I go this way, if I do B-SVG, I thread that through SVG to path, now I can split path, yeah. Yeah, I'll give this a shot. Not sure if it's gonna work, but let's see what happens. ISO view is seemingly rendered okay. Now, now I just save that to an SVG, I suppose. Whoa, right, forgot that that's huge. That looked cool. Right, so do believe I have an SVG function, right? It saves an SVG to whatever file here, output slash b out about b-out.svg. Let's give that one a shot. Okay, what does it look like? That's the real question. I think it could work, but I'm not sure. Okay, b-out.svg. File not found. Well, okay then. Here's the problem. There. Oh, it's wrong. Oh, of course, SVG, I'm not actually saving any data yet, right? Man, I'm losing it today. I didn't put anything through it. I have to put ISO view into it. How about that? There we go. Hey, that works, except it's backwards. So it looks like the letter D. Okay, that is exciting. Excuse me, I'm a little tired today. Sorry about that. Okay, so how can I flip this thing around? Flip this bad boy. I believe I should be able to do something to the effect of just say it's a feature. You can write in reverse. Boom, done. It's a feature, not a bug. I love it. It's brilliant. So, in all fairness, this is neither a bug nor a feature. This is related to my assumption about orientation of the axes. And in reality, I haven't been that careful with it yet. So this is a good example of how I should actually define Y up or Z up a little bit differently. So that is not related to this animation library I'm in. It's related to the Forge CAD library and some, actually, take that a step back. It is not related to the Forge library because it lets the user pick the renderer themselves. So it's actually in the SVG library. In particular, this isometric transform and this drawing 2D function, how those work and assume things are oriented is a little bit wrong. So I believe if I do, for example, top transform like this, and then run this again, that shows things that way. So the real problem actually arises with how this isometric transformation is working. So not a bug, not a feature, just something unclear on my end. Right, so the most correct way to solve it, I think, is to fix it in the right location. But what I want to do is see what happens when I just do this first. Okay, it's looking really good though. Hey, thanks, Mike. That's nice. It's very satisfying to have been working on a CAD library that's meant to work on 2D and 3D stuff and actually get output that shows objects in a 3D kind of environment. It's very satisfying. Honestly, when I was a kid, I always thought like I was super into the Star Wars prequels as a kid, partly because I watched the DVD extras and they showed 3D CGI stuff on computers, and I never thought I could get anywhere close to programming that kind of stuff. So even this slight, it's not anywhere close to crazy CGI processes, obviously, but you know, my younger self would be happy with my current self that I could do stuff like this. It's very satisfying, so I'm pretty happy with it. It is very fun. Very, very fun. I have, there's a few thoughts that run through my mind with this little pipeline I'm working on. So I do some sort of line drawing and stuff on my iPad. Got to start somewhere. People who made that CGI software probably started putting pixels on a screen. Oh yeah, that really is the thing that I try to tell myself is pretty much anything that you think you can't do, you probably can do eventually, right? I mean, within obvious reasonable restrictions, right? I mean, we're human. We have 24 hours in a day. You know, we got to live and thrive and blah 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 blah. Point is, I really think basically everyone can get to 80% proficiency, for some loose idea of proficiency, in pretty much anything they want. It really is a matter of time and effort put into whatever it is. And you're totally right. You know, those people, you start with putting pixels on a screen, you start with making a tiny little thing here, and you kind of just keep chipping away at it. Trying, failing. Eventually some of those failures are actually successes, and then you just kind of keep going. But the visual output's always nice. I was saying something just before that. What was it? Oh yeah. I have this idea. I think it'd be really fun as a sort of art kind of creative thing. I have another little code base I'm messing around with that takes a PNG image and runs there's a thing, an executable called potrace or potrace I think is what it is, and it will turn a PNG with well-defined edges into an SVG path. So what I think would be really cool is on my iPad I do line art, airdrop it through SSH and run it through a script that takes it, converts it to an SVG path, then plunks the path through this pipeline and spits it out as a morphed 3D animation of some kind. I think that would be pretty neat. It'd be fun to do, and I actually could. But instead of talking about it all, I gotta I would have to actually do it. So maybe that's coming up soon. If I don't keep distracting myself, that would be really cool. Yeah, I think it would be neat. In fact, let's see if I have okay. This little project is called Mugshot. Okay, this where do I begin? There's a YouTube channel that I really enjoy. I find them entertaining, called Drawfee. They're artists, and they do dumb. They do silly drawing challenges. They're good artists in my opinion. They do this like line art related stuff. So I made a little program that kind of lets you pull a PNG from a timestamp and converts it to the SVG, like I was saying. The idea is I want to make a sort of fan page of some of their sketches, and that's where I'm that's where I could kind of put my own things through the same pipeline. So let's see if I can run it. The one problem is it uses YouTube DL, which I was on Hacker News and I noticed that that is a little controversial now. YouTube DL might not be around forever. Very useful program, but maybe disappearing at some point. Let's see. Do I have something that I could show quickly? I'm not sure. Yeah, it got slammed. Yeah, I actually think it's bad that it got slammed. I mean, I can see why it would end up becoming that way, but it's very useful, and it's a real shame to lose a tool like that, because I don't really think it's bad to want to download a YouTube video and watch it offline. I don't think that's a bad thing. But yeah, it's getting slammed, and it's not overly surprising. It's just like, shoot, there it goes. There are forks and stuff, which I find hilarious. I mean, of course there would be, right? People putting it on GitLab and trying to maintain it that way. There's always going to be some. There's always going to be some people that really, take the hacker mentality and and fight for freedom and all that jazz. Anyway, do I want to try run it for a minute? Let me see what I can do here. Since I'm not really working on anything critical today, I'll give it a shot. Because maybe it's fun to try. If I go to output here, pardon me. Right, so where am I at here? Where am I at? Let's close this one, split it this way. Okay, here we go. Thing people who are going after it don't understand is that when you watch a video, you still download it to a cache location for your browser. If you knew enough programming, you could recreate the app. At least that's how it used to be. Yeah, so the interesting thing is there's some philosophical questions related to downloading a file in its entirety and then having it be in an ephemeral space, cached, like you say, versus downloading something one little bit at a time where the other bits fall off and are discarded on a garbage collection basis or whatever, right? Like, the end result to an end user is theoretically equivalent, but you have to adjudicate, like there's some kind of theoretically legal distinction between those things. Now, in my opinion, it's really starting to split hairs, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. But I could see why people who would benefit from fighting against certain things like that, I can totally see why they would want to start splitting those hairs. But it's craziness. But it's the other thing about YouTube DL is it being actively maintained, right? Because YouTube can and does change their API without notice, right? I believe it's like, it's not an open source platform, so they can and do change it whenever they want. YouTube DL would have to keep updating itself to be compatible with the latest API changes. So theoretically, you can always find the spot on your browser that's cached, but the value of YouTube DL is primarily from having some other team do the work every time it changes, and that'll be a shame to lose that kind of stuff. In my opinion, of course. For the time being, though, I think it still works for what I'm attempting to do here. If I can refresh my memory on how I did this, then I'd be happy with it. And then I'd want to kind of run it before YouTube changes its API, because I'm not sure I want to have a personal arms race with API changes at a big company like Google. That'd be kind of a waste of my time, I think. Let's see. Pardon me. So let's try to load file. The reason this program's called Mugshot, by the way, is, yeah, it's a big ethical dilemma. You have to decide where you fall at the end of the day. There's never going to be a one-size-fits-all solution. Yeah, ain't it a shame, but that's always how it goes, right? There's always, there's room in this gray area. I personally think that YouTube should have a little download button by every video they have, for, if not for free users, for premium users or something like that. I think that would, you know, having the download option, I think just makes sense. It would be really nice, but I'm just one guy on the internet. What do I know? What does my opinion really matter in deciding those things anyway, right? Let's see if I open this. I'm just chatting about ridiculous stuff at this point. So mugshot / output / paste. Okay, well, here's an example. This was a random screenshot I took at a timestamp, and you can see. So I want to be very clear. This art is not mine, right? Like this is Drawfee, the Drawfee channel's stuff. I don't intend to be using it for anything other than like a fan site and all that kind of stuff. But this is an SVG element, which I think is so cool that you can make a pipeline that does that for you. Let me try to remember how I actually ran this. Right, so this function crop shot, I believe, let me see if this will work, just for kicks. Let me just see if it works, and then I'll get back to the other thing I was doing. Oh, let's, oops, shoot. I'll just do this, Drawfee. I don't want to stream their content on my channel, of course. That would be not great, you could say. So let's just pause it, and I'll go to a kind of a spot where there's kind of, let's do a, there you go. That's pretty innocuous, I think. So copy URL at current time. I'm pretty sure that this will work. Let's find out. Okay, crop shot. Let's paste this URL in there. Oop. So it's got a timestamp and everything. I think it'll work. We'll find out in a minute. It's doing something, I think. Right, so maybe it isn't. Oh, look. Okay, so I think something might be going wrong, but there is this here. This PNG is showing up from this setup here. So it's possible that it's hanging on this part or this part. I don't know. I am not certain. So let's open up okay, so there's proof that the PNG shows up at least. Not sure what's going on with everything else. So the pipeline might not be fixed, but at least the YouTube DL portion is still working at least. So that is nice. But the part that I actually would want to use for my own idea of doing line art and then putting it through this process seems to be a little broken at the moment. That's a shame. You know what? I'll just leave it dangling for a second and I will be right back. I won't be long. I'll just see if it finishes up at some point. I'm not sure if it will, but I won't be long. I'll be right back. I think I probably know what's going wrong with this thing too, by the way. Let's kill it. Nope, that's the wrong. Right, so if I clear this, list this. Right, so what's probably going wrong here is canvas crop image is probably breaking on me. So let me try it just one more time, actually. If I can take, I think I can take this right out of the flow. The difficulty here is sometimes, in the case of taking some screenshots from this particular channel, they have UI from, like, they work in Photoshop, so sometimes they have UI elements on their on the frame, which if you just want a shot of their line work, right, you can crop it out. But I don't want to hard code a crop because from episode to episode they're in different spots and all that sort of stuff. I want some kind of mechanism that does some basic image processing and gets rid of it automatically. So I came up with a sort of hacky approach, and I think that's what's breaking here. In particular because it's a screenshot with no border element at all. It's just white and black. So I wonder if that's related to it. I'll find out. And if this doesn't work, then I'll pop back to my animation stuff and just start working on that again. The other thing is it could be trying to spawn an Inkscape process, and that might be bogging down at some point. So I'm not entirely certain what exactly is happening. Oh, I was talking too much. It actually spit out an SVG there. So let me list. Yeah, here we go. So now that's an SVG. Let's open it up. Let's have a look. as you can see, it saves the file as the like a sort of sanitized. Ooh, okay, so it's not quite right there. What did I do? Maybe it's not working. Anyway. Let me vim that. It's empty. Okay, so there's something going wrong with the pipeline, but that's fine. They're solvable. These are solvable problems. You know, let me just try one, because I do want to see if it works. Let's list here. Let's get rid of those. There, okay, it's empty. All right, let's do one final little test. Now that I'm here, I want to see if it still can work. Otherwise, I have work to do later on, which is totally fine. Totally fine. Okay. Let's give it a go. Oh, this must be cached. Hey, there we go, an inscrutable stream. Oh, maybe I was in the wrong... Oh, come on. Can I type? Not today. I have a call. It's chaos over here. It's chaos. Sorry about that. All right, let's get back to it here. All right, where am I at? Well, since I'm not doing anything critically important, I guess it's okay. Okay, we're good there. Good there. All right, did this work? I'm just trying to get to the right URL here. Can I do it? Hey, there we go. Okay, so this does work, kind of. So this is why this is why the little program is called Mugshot, because the channel, they at the start of their episodes, they do a little coffee mug cartoon like this. And the whole idea was to make a script that saves the unique mug drawings and puts it on like a grid layout web page, and then just link to every episode. So that was the whole idea behind this anyway. But it works is the real point here. And since it's nicely converting to SVG, I could use exactly this image to SVG thing with my line drawings from my tablet, which is exciting as a potential little project. I'm happy with that. That seems nice. Let me try to go back though. Here we go. Okay, let's see if I can make something cool with this now. That's the next thing to do. Okay. Right. All right, here I am with this. I actually have a working path, which is nice. So of course, I need to do, I'm just gonna preemptively do this. BERIGHT, BACK. I don't know if this is the smart way to do it. Have you tried multiple letters with this yet? Not yet. It would work exactly the same because, well, it would, how do I want to explain this? Let's actually, if I go, okay, if I open, what's a good one to open here? Let's just clear this up for a second. Oops. No. Let's make sure I did that right. Okay. Pretty good. Okay, so this b.svg, the way I made the SVG file that I'm pulling the path from is a little specific to the needs I have here. I use a program called Inkscape. It's an open source vector graphics drawing program, kind of like Illustrator, but open source. If it loads, sometimes it's a little slow. I can show you what I've done to the b.svg thing, and I can show you how I could put, yeah, it opens. So here I have b, right? Obviously. If I go, if I double the width of this document, oops, a little, well, okay, it's not perfect. I'm using a sort of screen or a window manager that doesn't work perfectly with pop-ups, pop-up UI stuff like this. So a little annoying there. But anyway, that's unrelated. Okay, so if I do that, this here, this B, has a bunch of nodes on it. See this? And they're all straight lines. Undo, please. There we go. So what I can do here is, let me actually do the letter E here. It's not gonna, I'm just gonna do it roughly here for now, actually. Okay, obviously this is horrible in terms of consistent sizing, but it works like this. This is a text, it's treated as text inside Inkscape, and so it's not in the form that I need. So what I can do is path, object to path. Now it's no longer a text element. Now it has these nodes, but these nodes are Bezier path nodes. So what I need to do is take all the nodes here, and what I can do is insert, shoot, where is it? Oh, here, yes. So I can add nodes between all of these, and it will kind of calculate the spots for me already. Let's say that's good, and now I can make them straight coordinate points here. So now this is composed only of straight, that's not true. I messed something up there for a second. If I do there, now they're all straight edges, so you can kind of see the straight edge on there. But for the simple stuff I'm working on, that's fine. But there's still two separate objects right now. So there's one final thing to do here, and that's path union. It should work. Path combine. They're slightly different. Now here we go. Now they're one single object. So if I save this now, and I can pull it into my program, and it will be a single path element. And then I can, on the Clojure side, I can split the path, and it'll split on the outline of this letter, the outline of this whole, the outline of this letter, and this here. So there will be a total of 4 path segments, kind of, once I pull this in. So final thing I need to do is actually go, I might forget here. If I preferences, and this is where things are a little finicky. I don't want to have to do it this way all the time, right? Like ideally I could have a programmatic way to do this all, so I never have to work in the UI. But for now it does work, and it's okay. So the path string format here is absolute. That's what I needed to double check. The numeric precision doesn't need to be 8. That's a little crazy. Let's do 6. You know what? I don't care that much. I'll leave it. SVG output is this. SVG export. All this is fine. So I'm not knocking Inkscape at all. It's a powerful and great program, but this kind of stuff is just a little finicky, right? And it's not, I mean, if you could just have this all calculated for you without opening the UI, obviously that would be pretty nice. But I don't know how to do that yet. Cool, that answers the concern I had about whether or not the program could distinguish between the B and the E, or if it would see them as a single entity. So it will, let's see if I can save this and actually try to demonstrate it. It will initially treat it as a single entity because in some sense it is a single entity. It is one path element. It is not 4 path elements. It's one element, and inside the path string there are different commands, you know, start path, end path inside the single path element. It's confusing, but it's in some sense it's one element, but in a visible sense it is clearly 4 paths, right? Anyway, blah blah blah, semantics. Let me save this. Let's save this as BE. BE, that's fine. That's fine. Save it as a Inkscape. I think that might be good. Let's have a little check here. Okay. Oh. Okay. You might not be able to really see it, but here I'm just having a quick peek. All I care about is the parts. You see how all the like the L and V and everything in this string here are capitalized. That means they're in absolute coordinates, which is exactly what I need. So that could theoretically work. So let's just go ahead and give it a shot. You know what? Let's also get rid of this. This is foolishness. It's ridiculous. BE. Let's try this. Output / BE.svg. Okay. Will it work? It works. Let's give this a go. Maybe it'll work. Ooh. So close. So close. Okay. Let's take a step back then for a minute and have a look at how this can work. Okay, so this is just the string. That's just the SVG pulled in. That's kind of unnecessary. SVG to path of BE-SVG. Does that give me a path element? It gives me the path string. If I run that string through, let me see here, split. Oh, let me give this a go. If I'm thinking about this correctly, split path should have a count of 4. So let's try that. Oop, come on. There we go. Let's see. 4, yes. Okay, so there we go. It's a single path string, right? Which shows up here. This is just one string from one path element. But you can split it into 4 independent paths. And the reason is I split on these things here. M means move to, and then Z here means end path. And there happen to be 4 Z's in here, which makes sense, right? Like I said, the outer line and then the inner line of the holes. So there's just, presumably there's a problem somewhere else in this pipeline here, and I don't know what it is yet, so I have to figure that one out. Otherwise, things are working more or less correctly, which is pretty neat. I'm gonna try, let's pop up this history here. Let's see if the point conversion or the points conversion works. Seems to work okay. Okay, so did I miss a step somewhere? I might have missed a step. This, okay. I think I didn't technically miss anything. Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong now. So, Well, it's a bit of a shame. I really thought it would actually just work out of the gate here, but let's try to cheat things out a little bit here. See if we can get something working. Ah, okay, so it might kind of work. Let's go save it. No, not quite. Oh, it's just empty. Okay. So something's going wrong somewhere along the line there. Null, yeah. Okay, not a problem. Well, it is a problem, but I'll see if I can fix it. How about that? Let's have a look here. If I run this. So in theory, this can all work. I'm missing something, and I don't quite know what it is yet. Looks to be this polygon call here. Ends up being nil. Why is that? Shouldn't have asked a question. Everything was working until I did. Oh no, don't worry about that. I mean, this is a logical next step in what I have to do anyway. What I think the end of this pipeline is actually going to be is I want to just have the whole phrase "be right back" as a single SVG. Want to pull that in as a base SVG string, get the path string from that, split it, and then just redef each letter independently. That way, if I want to edit the appearance of a letter and then rebuild the animation, I only have to edit a single SVG file, but the program pulls it all apart and reattaches it as I want, and then I can control each letter independently if I separate it. So the need to figure this issue out is inevitable. I just have to figure it out. So, I would have run into this sooner or later. Sooner is not and running into it sooner isn't bad. I just am confused. Okay, so it's supposed to work. It does give output curves, and here's all the vertices. Frep is nil, which is exactly correct. I guess it's extrude that's failing. No, even that's working apparently. What's going on? Oh, that's very weird to me. Okay, all right. Well, let me see. Let me see here. There's got to be something that I can figure out here. ISO view null. Well, if I just stop this and return object. Okay, something seems to go wrong at the rotate. ISO view. Okay, so ISO view shows up there. There's something wrong with the rotate, and I don't know why. But if I go like this, no, something wrong there. Okay, so if I do top here, top transform, it probably will work. Nope, that's still no. Shoot. Something's going wrong with the rotation transformation. I don't know what that is yet, because the translate is working. The reason I know it's the rotate, or I think it's the rotate, I should say, is related to this. It should still, or there's still rotation transformations inside the isometric transform, so that's why I think the rotate thing is a little broken. I hope it's not related to that. Nope. Null. Okay. I will actually delve into that later. Oops, that's bad here. The first thing I want to try is actually do this. Comment those out and swap in split path. Let's just take the first of that, and then we can just run to points. Yep, and f/polygon2 on that, and see if that, nope, that's still giving me a null issue. Second. Okay, so there seems to be something only, that's a little strange. Let's try, well, let's do this. Okay, whoops, split path, rest. So we drop the first element because that seems to have a mistake or an error of some kind. That's not working. Oh, right, this needs to be out. If this returns a value, okay, so there's something wrong with the first part of the path for some reason. So we've narrowed it down to an error in the first element, which is good. Let's see what it looks like to save that SVG, because I'm curious what path is actually causing a problem. Did it not do anything? What? Is this the right? Yeah, weird. Let's see. Hi, Kelby. Did I notice the DMCA takedown of YouTube DL? I did hear about this. I read about it on Hacker News, actually. In my opinion, it's a little unfortunate, to put it mildly. I have heard about it, but I'm not sure what that means about using it if you already have it downloaded. I don't know that technically makes a real difference, but I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. But there's all kinds of mirrors popped up and everything too. Do you use it? Do you use YouTube DL yourself there, Yakel B? Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, by the way. Sometimes screen names are just a little hard to get correct. So apologies up front about that. Let's see. This confuses me. Really? Oh, I'm cheating. Alright, this looks ridiculous. Okay, so I guess what I thought would work just didn't. So the compound path element isn't working the way I expected. So it might be back to the drawing board on that one. But for the time being, I've got a bit of an approach that does work. And I can go with that, I think. Let's, oops. Let's go like this for a second. Okay, so we've got visual output there. Let me do this. I would like to, I'm gonna just have a look at if I def, oh, okay, we're good. I have to go in about 5-10 minutes, so I'm not gonna get much more done with this today, but still happy with refreshing my mind on getting this to work. That's a step in the right direction. I'll say it that way. What could be going wrong with this first path? So let's look at, let's just do first of SVG, no, first of split path, SVG to path of VE-SVG. Okay. If I do 2 points of this, there are a bunch of points, right? It looks like it. If I run polygon over that, wait, did I try this already? Let me try first list. Okay, no, that does error out. Okay, so problem there. I don't want to think about this right now. That's the real problem I'm having. I've got that lazy brain attitude right now. It's not very helpful. Let me define this as a, let's put a symbol to this. Problem. Let's call it what. Def what is that list of points. If I run f/polygon2 over what, okay, it makes a polygon. In fact, let me pipe, let's do a thread first here. What f/polygon2 f/extrude 10. That does work, kind of anyway, or it theoretically does. f/translate 111, simple translation. Oop. Oh, hey, weird, but that seems to work. Okay, next thing, f/rotate 0, 0, 0, it does nothing, and there's a null. Okay, why would that be the case? Let's see. Forge. Operations. Transformations here. Translate. Okay, translate. Merge. Wait, no, that doesn't... Wait a second. Why... No pointer exception. Why is that? Ooh. Ooh, that's a problem in my brain, and I don't know why. Right. Okay. I wonder if this, no, because the rotate works in other cases, so it's related to the path numbers itself, I guess, the path values, I suppose. I just don't know why that would be the case. Well, I do suppose this is going to have to be a little bit of work for another day, because I am unfortunately running out of time. I'll try one final thing to see what I can do here. Let's do top here. Oh, that's still a null. Yes. Yes, yes. Nope, not gonna work today. Oh, well, okay, so having an issue with rotate function returning null, or giving a null pointer exception with some paths. Not sure yet what the cause is. We'll have to keep testing. It may be related to high values in X, but that really makes sense to me. It could also be some degenerate line case that I haven't seen, or perhaps malformed coordinates. Mike, is it still working with just one character, like plain old B? Yeah, it is. If I do this, it doesn't error out, and oh, so that looks wrong because I sliced. So this B SVG is the single letter path element. I split the path and took only the first path. That's why you only see the inner circle here. So if I get rid of that, in fact, let me do this and put the rotate back in there and make it isometric. This will all work. There's the letter B. Now if I do BE, it fails. But if I do BE and drop the first path of the 4 paths, it actually works. but you don't see a difference here. So there's something wrong with the path that makes the E, and I don't know what it is yet. If I run what and have a quick, oh, okay. I think I just figured it out. These 4 points right here only have 2 dimensions, and that's not correct. So I don't know what's going on there. So if I look at SVG and have a little peek near the start of this, I know what happened now. Curious if you have time to check what happens if you drop just the B component. Yeah, it will not work, but I can show you that. That's no problem. So instead of taking, so right now here, this little bit right here, rest. What rest does to a list, I can actually show it a little bit. Rest, you're meant to kind of work, if I give, my list is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. If I take rest from that, it'll give me 2, 3, 4 in a list, right? Rest is like the idea of, it's the same, if you combine it with first and rest, you can sort of destructure a list and take the first thing off a list. It's useful in recursive stuff, right? So first, blah, blah, blah. Ignore what I just typed. That's before you said you solved it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so here, okay, fair enough. Let me go and explain what I see to be the problem. I can't solve it right now. I have to get going, but now I know where to go next. Okay, the algorithm I've set up to convert any H and V commands into L commands requires that I have an LH pair before. This particular path has no LH pair or LV pair starting it. And so these first coordinates, 1, 2, 3, 4, H calls do not get correctly converted. They get passed over. So what I need to do instead is also identify an MH pair and put that into the algorithm, and that will then correctly convert these H commands into L commands. And then I will not get malformed points. So if I were to just drop those first 4 points, it might look weird, but it would then work through correctly. But I'm not going to have time to do that. So solved I convert H and V to L by passing it L, B, or LH pairs. In the case of a path starting with M and V or MV or MH pairs, my algorithm doesn't convert them. This causes 2D points. This causes points with no X or Y component, which is malformed in the 3D context, causing the rotate function to fail. Likely because there is a cross product or something like it, which needs 3D vectors. There. Okay, so that I know the cause, and I know where I need to go to solve it. It's related to... Basically, I also need a check for an MV-MH pair. I don't think I don't think this will solve it outright. Although maybe it will if I actually just do this. Oops. Let me just try that real quick. If that, I mean, that would be stellar if it were literally that easy, but I don't, something tells me that's not totally correct. MV, oops. Okay, let's build that. Well, let's give it a shot for a second. Why not, right? Whoa. It did solve it. Hey, wow. That was quick. All right, let's just finish this off then and see if I can get it completely working. All right. No chokes there. Yeah. Oh, but it doesn't, there's no difference. I celebrated too soon. Wait a second, what's going on now? Oh, it is there. Oh, yes. Oh, that's a great way to end it. All right. I'm into it. I love it. Okay, 90 degrees. Well, that's just weird. Okay. Whoop. All right, let's do top. Let's try that. Okay, so it's just the viewport's the wrong size here. Let's do 500 maybe. Will that show me more of the kinda? It's just I have to move things into the right frame here. Easiest solve ever. Victory after all. Yes. Sorry, bit of a roller coaster right at the end there. So I was just a little nervous here. I wasn't sure if I had if I was generic enough with how I set this up, so I was not totally sure that this check would work, but boom, solved the problem. All right, nice big win. Okay, that is the perfect way to end for the day. Thanks for tuning in on a more casual, not working on anything important stream. Turns out I still got a few nice things fixed up, and I've got a good approach for doing more of the animation work I want to do. Yeah, steps in the right direction every day. I'm really pleased with that. Okay, I am going to get going now. Yeah, don't have much to say. Just to say I'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and spread the news that I stream if you're interested in sharing this. Congrats on progress. Excited to see how the rest of it comes along. Yeah, Mike, thanks again. Always appreciate you being here. It's really nice. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get going. Have a good day, and I will be back tomorrow.